business meeting of the town of McCandless to order. We'll move right into the agenda items. Councilman Ladon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight is indeed a special night in the history of our town, as well as the history of our council and the rest of those here in the audience, in as much as that I have the privilege and honor of swearing in 3 new police officers to serve the citizens of the town of McCandless, and serve them, I'm sure, they will do well. It's a long and arduous process that our recruits and candidates go through in order to become a McCandless police officer. They must have education, they must have training, they must have the physical and psychological abilities to do the job of handling the people of the town of McCandless and those who transit through. This is not an easy job. Never has been, never will be. Gone are the days when someone came to our door and wanted to be a police officer. We handed them a wheel gun and a badge and the keys to a 5-year-old clunker and said, "You're now a police officer." Those days are gone. Our new personnel have been well screened. They are professionals, and they're ready to hit the street running. So I, at this time, would like to invite to the podium Officer Richard W. Waite for the purpose of being sworn in as a police officer for the McCandless Police Department. Chief DeSanti, would you join me, please?
Yes, please. Richard Waite is going to have his badge pinned on by his wife.
He has to so swear here.
They had a mock practice of this because the uniforms they just put holes in them, so they were put it down in my office.
Don't say ouch, even if it hurts.
Be strong. Be strong.
Be strong.
Richard Waite, would you step over here, please? To this side.
Right.
Raise your right hand. And after I say "I," you say "I" and then your name. I
I, Richard W. Waite,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of police officer for the town of McCandless with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of police officer for the town of McCandless with fidelity.
Congratulations and welcome to the department.
Thank you very much.
Stay here. We have our officially lowly paid photographer to come and take your picture along with your wife here.
Thank you.
All right. Before you run off, you have to sign your oath of office here. A line above your name. Okay, you may stop. Thank you. I have to take this.
All right.
Agenda item number 3, administer the oath of office to Officer Anthony R. Koo as a police officer for the McCandless Police Department. Officer Koo, would you step forward, please?
Anthony's gonna have his badge pinned on by his mother. He's got holes in his uniform. You have to worry. Where's the other? This is worse than a physical agility. There you go. You got it. Patience is a virtue.
Well, we have the EMS here in case you push them into hard. Officer Koo, your oath of office also. After I say the word "I," you state your name and raise your right hand. I
I, Anthony R. Koo,
do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend
do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of police officer for the town of McCandless with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of police officer for the town of McCandless with fidelity.
Congratulations and welcome to the force.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Certainly. And would you sign right above your name, please?
Thank you.
Item number 4 on the agenda. Administer the oath of office to Melissa A. Delval as a police officer for the McCandless Police Department, who, by the way, was also the winner of the Jennifer Aniston Lookalike Contest. Would you step up, please?
Badge is being pinned on by her fiance, who's a city police officer. Just kind of a neat thing.
Now the oath of office. Raise your right hand. After I say the word "I," you will say "I" and then recite your name. I
I, Melissa Ann Delval,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of police officer for the town of McCandless with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of police officer for the town of McCandless with fidelity.
Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, could I have the new officers, please, and the chief stay here for one moment for one last photo? Could you sign your
Got it.
oath? There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Want me in?
How about one last big hand? Huh? Chief, any final words you'll tell us about our new recruits?
Yeah, just to reiterate, there's a lot of people to thank, first of all, in this process, and we moved the process along very expediently, and I'm glad that they're here, but this town does things right. It started this process with the Personnel Board, town management, and of course our town council to get these officers ready. You should be proud of them. They are the cream of the crop. They went through a very tough testing procedure, and they rose to the top. I think not only did we get 3 fine professional police officers, I think we got 3 fine quality human beings that'll serve our community with honor. And I'm very proud of them. And so many people to thanks, but you're to be commended in this process, and that's why we're here tonight. So I wish you all well. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Chief. And at the moment, Mr. President, I have no further business.
Thank you, Councilman Ledon. Moving right along to item number 5. Welcome. You're welcome to stay. And congratulations to all of you. Item number 5.
Move to award a contract to McElroy Paving Company, Inc., the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $169,310 for proposed improvements to reconfigure several of the ball fields at Vincentia Recreation Complex by lengthening and removing fencing for fields on level 1 and 2, contingent upon completion of final review and approval of documents by the Allegheny County Redevelopment Authorities. These improvements are being made under the auspice of the redevelopment of the Allegheny County Community Infrastructure and Tourism Fund, CITF, and McCandless Athletic Association and the town of McCandless.
Second. Been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Questions by anyone on the council? Anyone in the audience? Hearing none, call for a question on the motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move to item 6.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept and approve the Deferred Retirement Option Plan Agreement and election of Sergeant Lawrence J. Eatree, Jr. of the McCandless Police Department.
Second.
Been moved in second. Any questions from anyone on council? Any questions from anyone on the floor? Hearing none, we'll call for a question on the motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 7.
Mr. President, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of that motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. With that ends our business meeting. We now move into our committee meetings. And the first committee meeting is public safety.
You guys can escape.
Chief's report.
You don't have to stay long.
You may want to stick around.
Could we do a 5-minute recess to go out and congratulate the officers personally, Jerry?
Well, are they, do you want to do a dismissal, Chief, or are they, folks not at the presentation? Okay.
You want to go, does everyone want to go and congratulate them? Good for me. If you do, you may.
Call a 5-minute
We'll
recess.
take a 5-minute recess and congratulate them.
She needs 1 minute.
have to pause for a commercial here while we fix the equipment. We're good to go.
Who's on it?
Okay, we're back live. Dave?
You all right? Yeah.
Good to go?
Good to go, Dave.
Okay. Good evening. This is the monthly report for the Town of McCandless Police Department for July 2017. I'll be brief tonight. Council has a copy of the report if there are any questions. I want to talk about, we had joined the DUI, Western DUI Team Task Force, and I made comments to the fact that I would have data from our successful stationary checkpoint. We checked 1,100 vehicles that passed through the checkpoint. 12 individuals were administered field sobriety tests. Of those tested, 6 were arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. We also secured 1 individual on a drug warrant. We had 4 drug violations that night. 11 citations were issued under the Pennsylvania Vehicle Code, and it was a very, very successful. There was a total of overall, through the DUI task force this year, 893 arrests made. I'm proud of my officers' participation, and it sharpens their skills. It was a good night that makes this community safe for all of us, and we are planning a roaming patrol in the near future. Also tonight, I would like in a little bit to introduce, we have a special guest that's been invited to our meeting. I have been actively researching the possibility of a canine patrol, especially in light of the opiate crisis, to assist us here in the police department. Tonight, we will see a first-hand demonstration from one of the best canine operators available, Bill Watts, and his canine partner Nix is here joining us tonight. I'm confident that you will find this demonstration to be a display of how advantageous a canine unit would be for our community. So when it's appropriate, Mr. Ralph Ledon, we can introduce Nix. That's all I have for my report tonight, respectfully.
All right, well, prior to that, do we have any public comment to that, to any of the public safety agenda items? Well, hearing none, Chief, you can call on your friend with Officer Nix there and take over from here.
Bill, you're on.
Okay, you just want to go straight to the demonstration, Chief?
Yeah, you can introduce and talk about the dog.
Nix is my 3rd dog. He's a 6-year-old German Shepherd. He was born and raised in Holland. I've been with Nix now for approximately 4.5 years. He's a dual-purpose patrol and narcotics dog. So his narcotics capability right now is marijuana, cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and designer drugs such as ecstasy. So we were going to do, if you don't mind, just do a quick demonstration for you guys of what the capability of their noses are. And any questions, please feel free to ask me anything. I've been with the unit for 13 years for the city of Pittsburgh. I'm also one of the unit trainers. So this is sort of my life here. So would you like to see a quick demonstration?
Yeah.
Please do.
He won't bother you. Just kind of ignore him. It's an odor, so he's going to get a little bit different of a behavior. He's a passive indication dog, so when he finds odor, he lays down or sits. And he'll stare at that all day long. I could leave him there. And he'll stay with that odor.
What is the odor?
I'll show you right when we're done. I don't have to do praise him off this. I'll reward him in the next one. Good boy. Yeah, good boy. The first odor we had is obviously a common odor you're gonna find in your high schools. It was 10 grams of marijuana. It's actual marijuana. We train all our dogs on actual odor, so that that's all they find is actual odor. The main one that we're concerned about is the one that's right here. The one that's plaguing our schools right now. All that was a simple 10 bags, stamp bags of heroin. Where the dogs become so important, that heroin right there is enough to kill about 3 people. Think of all the places you could hide that. It'll kill 3 people.
You hold it up for the camera?
Camera back here?
You got it.
Yeah, I can even show some of the individuals not familiar with it. That's all it is. All the heroin is killing everybody. That's all it is. And that's town. So you see the capability of the dog's nose. Like we try to say, you know, you can grow it, you can hide it. Canine, we will find it. Dog's nose is incredible. They found that the dog's nose can actually smell to the trillionth of a particle. He's out there playing with it.
So he's happy.
Yeah, he's very happy. What he does is for us, the dog doesn't realize he's finding narcotics. He believes he's finding that toy. So obviously that's why I snuck it up behind him.
I think he gave me a hamburger.
Any questions for me? I mean, because I just do not want to hold you guys up. I'm a canine officer. I could talk for hours with you guys.
How long does it take you to train the dog?
The dogs take approximately 3 months. Approximately 3 months. Yes. Now, with the city of Pittsburgh, we do 3 months from start to finish. Other areas such as Shallow Creek Kennels, what they do is they pre-train the dog for 6 months. Then the handler starts with the dog for 6 months. So the dog's already trained, then we train the human end of it to work with that dog. It's a very efficient process.
And I gather these dogs, different ones have different specialties. You mentioned the 2 that yours have, but
Yes.
I've seen, like going through customs, they seem to have dogs smelling the things that come through, and that's probably for drugs. And
Absolutely.
other ones chase bad guys, and
Absolutely. I try to train all over the country to gain as much knowledge as I can. You have your narcotics dogs, obviously, your explosive dogs. They have bed bug dogs now. They have mold dogs, cadaver dogs. I actually just spent, 3 weeks ago, I spent 3 days out at Penn Vet Working Dog Center. It's the Working Dog Research Center for Penn State, and that's actually where they train the cancer screening dogs that will actually detect cancer out of a biopsy. It's incredible. It's just absolutely incredible.
You mentioned he has 2 purposes?
Yes, sir.
To
There's
train.
a patrol function, which is patrol function is essentially for the layperson, it's his man work. It's for the burglary in progress, so that he will go in and search and clear that area safely and more efficiently than an officer can. Missing endangered persons, felony persons that who have fled, he can track them. He can do an area search. The dog's also trained in article searches. I've demonstrated it for Sergeant Madden before. I had him take his keys. He had 2 keys on a key ring, and he threw it in the field. And I cut him loose, gave him his command. He swept it, boom, found the keys, and laid down. So that's basically his patrol function. That is the basic quintessential police dog that we all think of. You know what I'm saying? The finding of a human being.
Are they limited to 2 purposes? Does it get too complicated if they go to a third?
It begins to get a little convoluted for the dog. Like I say that, you know, we want the dog to be very proficient at 2 things. After that, I don't want to create a circus animal. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
essentially does tricks and so forth. We really try to limit them.
On the patrol, the chief has talked to me several times. The animals can be, depending on their personality, which I guess they're evaluated for their tendencies, that to be an interactive type of dog on patrol.
Absolutely.
So if we have dogs that would do some foot patrol, we have a place called McCandless Crossing that they can interact with the public and then change gears if it's time to kick it in motion on drugs.
Absolutely. Nix is a certified patrol dog with the city of Pittsburgh for several years now. Does anybody want to be him?
Sure.
Bring him
Heck, yeah. I do.
Counsel, respectfully, to shed some light on it, we talked about that. They get a dog that's conducive to the community. So we talked at length, the officer, about we want a dog that can go into the schools, do programs. We want a dog that's going to be friendly and dual purpose. But they actually, when the selection of the dog, Bill explained to me, it models the community they serve. And obviously, if you have a dog in the inner city working a very high crime area, the dog is going to be a lot different personality than a dog that would work in the town of McCandless. So that was a great question. We're looking at making the dog fit our community. The dog that could go into the preschools, can walk McCandless Crossing, but yet can be a great asset for the safety of our citizens and recovery of lost people, and of course, with the opiate crisis, to assist us in narcotics detection.
Chief, do they only work with one officer?
They work specifically with one officer, yes. Yep,
So if the officer's sick, then the dog can't work either.
correct.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
it. I just-
yep.
Where does the dog go when it's retired, and how long till he retires?
Their expectancy is usually like 8 years.
And then what, does it stay with the officer?
He stays with the officer, yes, but he retires from police duty.
Weather we've been having, but this is your police dog. And I assure you, like some of you were asking, when it comes time, well, he's gonna do his job. But essentially, outside of drive, that's what you have. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
How much,
there's no antisocial tendencies. It's not the,
Officer
how
Bill.
much damage would he do if attacked, if told to attack, if he had to? Is he more of a bite and hold, or is he going to tear
we
someone to
train all
shreds?
our dogs for bite and hold, okay? And for the simple reason being, the only way I can explain it, the only way that I can explain it is for our law enforcement people, when we teach baton, how do we teach them? How hard do you hit someone with your baton? As hard as you can. Because that's much better than hitting them 50 times. Hit them one time, and that's the way the dogs are. They engage, they hold. They don't maul people.
So it's going to be one
It is
four-fang bite mark for the most
only time
part.
that you will get multiple bites is if the person does start assaulting the dog, which happens.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He engages. Now, you want to start hitting him, kicking him? Obviously, they're not dumb. They're going to remove themselves from the situation to stop that, but then they're going to re-engage you somewhere else. And we always know that when we get a bite on the street and I see multiple engagements, I can assure you with 100% accuracy, he was assaulted towards the dog. Other than that, they bite wherever they can, and they hold. They are not a pain compliance tool. We don't use them for pain compliance. We don't do it to, I'm going to put my dog on you until you give up. It's used, that we use the dog's nose. That's what we use. They are a locating tool. After we locate the bad person, now that bad person decides what happens after that. You know what I'm saying? We don't use our dogs maliciously. The days of that are long, long in the past. They are a locating tool. You've committed a violent felony, and I need to find you. He will find you much faster than a team of officers. But once we find you, you are afforded the ability to give up. If you do not want to give up, it's like any other use of force, he will be used. But you always have to remember they are a less than lethal use of force, such as our pepper spray, our tasers, our batons. But they're even better than that, because this is the only less than lethal tool that goes around corners and can be recalled after it's sent. You always have to think of that. How many people in the nation have died after a taser use across the country? Many. Since 1952, when police dogs were first introduced in the United States, do you know how many persons were killed by police dogs? One. All that history. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of police dogs in action across the country for all these years.
Now, does he live at home with you?
He does.
And how is he with your kids?
He is wonderful.
That's what I
He is
figured.
wonderful. Yeah. He is an actual, as the chief was explaining, this is the type of dog that I would look for McCandless. will do his job. You've seen that on the narcotics end. He will do his job. Patrol-wise, he will do his job. Outside of that, he just wants to be with everybody. He wants to be a part of the team. Wednesday, I go up to a camp in Zillionople with him for a camp of disabled children. And then the kids are gonna love it. They come up in the wheelchairs, they pet them. They absolutely love it. But he is a police dog. You get the best of both worlds with them, I assure you.
Since he was born and raised in Europe, is he multilingual, or are you? I understand some
No, he's actually smarter than
only
that.
understand German commands. Is that correct?
They do not. What we used to do in the past is, depending on where the dog came from, whether he came from Czechoslovakia, Germany, Holland, we trained him in that language, just figuring that's the language he's used to hear. Now what we find is the dogs come over, they don't even know their names. They say, "Poes, poes, poes." So what we do is, I prefer Dutch commands. So when I train all my dogs, they're in Dutch command. He is in German because I trained him 4 years ago. Now all my new classes I train in Dutch. I just prefer Dutch commands. So it's not so much and actually they do, because believe it or not, when they go home and I'll say, you know what, just go lay down. He knows what it means. Go lay down. But if I say Platz, he knows what it is. They get what it all means. They put it all together.
Is it expensive to train them?
It is not that expensive. It really isn't. I'm going to be honest with you that the main cost is the dog itself.
Purchase it.
They are imported. They are bred for their drives to be able to do this. They are the NFL of the dog world. But the training is not. It's the dog, and truthfully, just the very beginning phase is the only expense you have. It really is. In the city of Pittsburgh, we have 22 of them. So I'm very familiar with the cost, because I have to keep an eye on that for the city. It's just not. And what I found is there is a cost to it. Just there's a cost to anything that the committee told that we want to use. But what they do, especially in the schools, checking these schools, keeping this stuff away from the kids, they pay off in dividends. Just in dividends. I mean, in all honesty, if you were to take this dog to one of the schools and he just found that much heroin, he paid for himself as far as I'm concerned. If you take this dog to the school and you find one drug filing, you think those kids that are bringing it in, they think they're never going to bring it to schools again? It's a bean. Can you put a price on that?
Officer, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do officers ever encounter situations where someone unleashes another dog to attack your dog?
I've never run into that, and I don't know of any of it. We do have problems within the city, and we do run foot patrol at times.
Pit
There
bull.
are pit bulls. You get a lot of them. Yes, you do have that problem. Now, what I always have to worry about is we do keep our dogs very, very dog neutral. So it's not that they want to go play with the other dog, but they don't want to fight them. They just kind of ignore them. But what I always worry about is the other dog hurting my dog, and it's just something I'm not going to allow. And I'm just going to be honest with you, in the city, a lot of times it ends very badly for the pit bull.
That's why you have a
I mean,
sidearm.
people can get upset about that, but I'm not going to let my dog get hurt. He will protect me with his life. I owe him the same respect.
You ever breed those dogs?
No, that's such a that's a major cost. And then the problem that you have is with the dogs, then you end up becoming a vendor because of the simple fact. Let's just say Michael Jordan. Is there any guarantee his kids are going to be as athletic as him? They may have the genetics, but is there any guarantee? You start breeding the dogs, maybe one or two out of every litter will be able to do what they do. What do you do with the other one? You know what I'm saying? Now you're trying to sell dogs, and it's not conducive. It's so much easier to go to Europe where they do breed them for this.
Bill, one quick question. The dog itself is a deterrent on the street. Could you articulate on that, please, a little bit?
Absolutely. We always going to try to keep an eye on, you'll deal with all the federal best practices, especially when it comes to the patrol part, obviously, people getting bit, people getting apprehended. The federal best practices say that any unit should keep a 30% bite ratio. And that means that of all the apprehensions we're running approximately a 10% bite ratio. So out of the thousands of apprehensions that just our dogs make, that's not just regular arrests, just what our dogs make. And that means the person either gave up or did not give up and was engaged by the dog. 10% of those, the person was engaged. Most people, 90% of your persons, they give up. They hear the dog, you have to afford them 3 warnings. Mine is Pittsburgh Police Canine, sound off an hour, release my dog, you will be dead. I have to tell them who I am, what I'm gonna do, and what's gonna happen if they don't comply. And I assure you, I have to give them 3 of them. Normally after the first one, people are running out. It's amazing. It's amazing just the presence of what they do. It's amazing the presence of just making people feel better. We do a lot of foot patrols in our business areas, especially like the South Side Works. They have all the restaurants. They could care less about us. It's just like they say, oh, look, there's a dog. It's like, well, he can't work without me. You know, I'm a part of this equation. But they look at that dog like, I feel safe now.
Chief, do we have a person in mind to be the canine officer, or do we have 10 officers who would like to be the canine officer?
Well, your question is a good one. We do have somebody in mind because we have someone that has professional training that, in the entrance interview that I had aspired his whole career to do this and has professional training as a dog handler. So I think we have someone that's come to the front that would be an outstanding. And I think Bill will convey this also. All the research I did, I've talked to every chief I can talk to and got as much information as I can. The handler makes or breaks the program. And that's why I do think, to answer your question, we have an outstanding person in mind for the handler. And I believe that the program will be successful.
And Chief, it sounded like a couple comments you made to me when we started talking about this was that a couple of your comments where there might even be a succession plan.
Well, yeah. Every time you launch something, you want to be successful, and we're hoping we'll start a legacy with the K-9 program, and we have other officers that are interested, and we would like to continue it. I do think it would be successful. I think that it's something that would benefit the community in a positive way. And Councilman Pires, to answer your questions, I have a proposal that's been put at each one of your desks that's been handed out, and it gives a specific of figures, and I think it breaks down all the information you need as far as cost. And I also want to say, though, that there is the opportunity, and I am pursuing it, for supplemental investments in the dog through other means, and that's a good chance that will come to fruition. Anybody else have any questions, Officer Watson? Bill, I can't thank you enough. You're a consummate professional, and I know your passion, and I've learned so much from you. And I will personally tell Chief Schubert, who is a friend of mine, thank you for coming out here, and I thank you for the bottom of my heart taking your time.
I told the chief before also, I'm no expert. I try to be. I have a lot of contacts. I try to really feel like I told the chief, if this is the direction hopefully you guys go, I'm going to be with you all the whole way, not just the beginning here. I'll be with you the whole way.
Thank you.
I'm right down the road. All you do is call me.
Thank you. That's what's special about the brother and sisterhood of law enforcement. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks again, Bill.
Mr. Chairman, the proposed information, when you and I talked with the chief this morning to get briefed a bit, I think it was his idea that if this is to be pursued for inclusion in the town budget, and there's a training opportunity that the chief has mentioned for later this year, perhaps at the agenda review meeting later this month, we could plan on visiting this information and seeing what council thinks.
Excellent. Glad to do so. Thank you, Chief.
Consul, thanks to you all for your attentiveness, and I appreciate your interest. Mr. Public Safety Chair, may I be excused? I was going to go with our new officers.
You may do so.
Okay, thank you very much.
much for your report, Chief.
Thank you.
And with that, I'll conclude the Public Safety Committee meeting.
Are we gonna do the public comment?
We did that already.
Okay, then.
Okay. Move to the Services Committee.
Mr. President, I call to order the Service Committee meeting for August 7th, 2017. There's two items of substance on the agenda. The first is Fire Marshal Dan Stack's report for the month of June 2017. Dan, will you please give us a overview of your report?
Thank you, and good evening. The month of June was extremely busy for the town of McCandless Fire Companies. On an average, if you guys remember, we normally run between 50 and 60 calls, but as you know, Mother Nature wasn't too kind to us in June, and the three fire companies ran a total of 101 calls in the month of June. That is by far one of the most busiest months I've ever remember in my career, as far as I know, within just those 2 days. As you know, with the flooding and whatnot, but on the 15th of June, we ran 15 calls within that small section because of the storms. And on the 16th, that following day, we ran a total of 20 calls within with like a 2-hour period. Again, we were extremely busy with that. I also like to report that we ran one of our first working structure fires within a 2-year period as well. And I say that very proudly. It was unfortunate that it had to happen, but we haven't not pulled a hose into a house in over 2 years. And a lot of that has to do with our robust fire prevention details and our messages that we get out to our residents, our business owners, and whatnot. But that is something that's it's very proud for me to offer. And Chief Sean O'Brien, I think you might be able to chime in on that. But
it's become something we've tracked. Just because the first couple years I was chief, we had 11 structure fires one year, I think 15 the next, and it's been something we still stay adequately trained on Tuesday nights. But it's been a nice streak.
it has.
We hope to start the new one now.
Right. Just a real brief on the structure fire. It was at the Presidential Arms Apartments. It was a small bedroom fire. It was contained very quickly with 0 injuries to either firefighters or civilians. Immediately following that, probably within 20 minutes of us leaving that scene, we got called to the Cumberland Court Apartments for another kitchen fire. It was burnt food. It was immediately, so we went straight to that. And then a couple hours after that, the Penguins won the Stanley Cup. So that same night. Just a quick, brief overview as to the fire department trainings. The fire departments are just recently wrapping up their rescue portion. Station 188 Peoples, they just got done refreshing all their members in the vehicle rescue portion. And Highland and Ingomar, we just got we wrapped up our firefighter rescue, our rapid intervention training. It took over a month's time to review all that. And we continue to move on. And just under the important dates again, very important date this coming Friday, August 11th, is the 19th annual Balls of Fire golf outing. So if anybody would like to join us up there for dinner, you're more than welcome. Other than that, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, if there's any questions.
Any questions by council? Okay, thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the report of the potential implementation of the Act 172, the Active Volunteer Fire / EMT Tax Credit Act. This act authorizes municipalities in Pennsylvania to establish a tax credit for active volunteer firefighters and emergency medical personnel. A ordinance and accompanying information has been prepared by the North Hills Council of Governments solicitor to be used by COG members who intend to implement this program. As I understand it, the tax is a non-refundable tax of $300. It's a tax credit on the municipal portion of the local earned income tax for active volunteer firefighters and emergency medical personnel. Toby, did you want to comment on what the COG did?
Yes, sir. I've been reporting on a monthly basis as to the COG activity, because as soon as this law was enacted and signed as a law by Governor Wolf in January, the next Council of Governments meeting, all the managers in the North Hills that were in attendance agreed that this is something that ought to be done uniformly if it's done. And so municipalities, it was very immediate agreement that a firefighter in Etna and a firefighter in Ross or McCandless and Pine should be treated evenly, if at all possible. A fire chiefs committee was formed, and Chief O'Brien, I understand you served.
I have been to 2 of the 3 meetings, yes.
And the chiefs were tasked with and asked to help us understand how many hours would be a reasonable number of hours to qualify under the Act to receive the credit. And the credit is an up to $300, which means you have to make up to $60,000 a year to get a $300 credit on the local tax, not the municipal, on the municipal side, not the school tax.
Oh, wait a second, Toby, I thought it was a flat $300.
No, it's an up to.
No.
Oh, isn't it?
It's up to.
I mean, up to not you can't get refunded to you, but I thought if you made
take it as a credit on your form.
Yeah, but if you make 50,000, say for example,
then your tax would be
0.5% of
0.5% of $250.
Oh, it would?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yes.
misread that. Okay, thanks.
The law has two components. One is a potential earned income tax credit. The other is a real estate tax credit. And the COG, again, trying to be uniform, said that we ought to not pursue the real estate tax credit, and the earned income tax would be more fair and more uniform and universal. The same recommendation came to us from the people that collect our taxes, our earned income tax, and that's Keystone. We had a meeting. I currently chair the tax collection committee for the North Hills, and represents 48 municipalities, and there are 12 school districts. So it was unanimous that the municipalities agreed that we should focus on the earned income tax and not the real estate tax. We waited for several months, we locals, to see what would come out of the state through the state associations, the township associations, boroughs, and the state fire commissioner, who were tasked to help provide guidance on the law, how to implement the law. And we got that in the form of several forms. The Township Supervisors Association and the Boroughs Association both provided model ordinances and guidance. And so we've been receiving that information and synthesized it here into the summer, so that the time drew nigh that in order to implement this to take effect for this year, we have to act now here into September to adopt an ordinance. So we have that information from the COG. I don't think there's any reason for me to go on about that. If council does have any questions, either now or over the coming weeks, the idea would be that there's one community that spoke at the last COG meeting on July 19th, when we said that this is the last roundup. We'd like to have the model ordinance in our hands by the end of last week. I got the model ordinance about 11 a.m. I reviewed it quickly and thoroughly, and then talked about it at a meeting we had, a lunch meeting, COG meeting, and then I caught a couple things and pointed them out to the COG solicitor and to the COG director. Those changes were made, and as to what we had been talking about for the last 6 months. So about 3 o'clock, I got this, and I forwarded it to council and also to our fire chiefs. I suggested to the fire chiefs that they want to digest this, and then if they'd like to meet and go over anything, be glad to do that. Our procedure would be that under our charter, to amend our tax code, we need a public hearing. I think that's pretty synonymous with what happens with the boroughs and townships. But our home rule charter says we need a public hearing and then a vote by town council to approve the ordinance. After that would be put into effect, then the chiefs would have to review their documents, submit those. They have to be notarized, certified, and there are provisions to make sure that everything is accurate. We're to review them. People get their tax credit where they live. So if that was another reason to be universal, in addition to the tax credit being the same throughout the North Hills, is that if someone lives in Hampton but is a firefighter here in McCandless, the tax credit is issued in Hampton where you reside, and vice versa. So overall, I do believe we're ready to go. The next step would be to have Tucker Ahrensburg just take the model ordinance and take references out, take the blanks out, basically plug in, and then treat that ordinance as a good draft, and then we would have public hearing, review the public hearing like is our custom, and then adopt the ordinance in September, so the chiefs would have enough time to again get us the information, and we can get it to Keystone in enough time by the end of the year.
Ready to go.
I have a couple of questions. Now's the time for questions?
Yeah, any questions by council?
Okay. On page, it would be 8 if it were numbered, is one of the ordinances. There are actually 2 ordinances in here, so I'm wondering which one, 2 examples, which one that you're thinking of. And under section 2B, double I, it says business member. Now, I looked back in the definition of terms, and business member is not defined. So there is a definition of terms, which is on page, here it is, on page 2, definitions. And it has active volunteer, but I can't find anywhere that says business member anywhere, so I don't really know what that is.
Yeah, I think rather than have that default where anybody who's not an active member, meaning interior firefighter or exterior firefighter, I think it would be a good idea to define that, because by default it would be anybody else, but anybody else who does 50 hours.
Well, I know, but that could be someone
is-
from the community, I mean.
No, they have to be a member of the fire company.
Member of the fire company who only participates in business of the fire company.
There's not a problem, not a problem. The definition of terms is always good, so I think we can ask, in fact, I think I'll ask the COG to put the definition for a business member. There is only there's one ordinance. The ordinance itself governs the actions of the town in general.
Okay.
And then the resolution, which is there's a two-page resolution, and that's what you're referring to, that
Yeah,
that
you're right.
2B2 is.
Yes, it does say resolution.
Yes, the resolution doesn't have any terms because it emanates from the ordinance, but I think it's still a good idea to have the term business member
Well, probably
defined.
put it in the ordinance would be the best place.
Yep.
Now, would we have to abide by the 300, by the amount per person, or by income, or is there a way to do it that everyone would get the same flat fee?
I agree with that.
I mean, I personally think someone who's making $20,000 a year probably needs the $300 more than someone who's making $60,000 a year.
Well, again, I imagine there are going to be some deviations amongst the COG communities, but the executive, when the managers made the recommendation to do an up to amount, the executive board concurred with that. That again, they are an entity that we try to do, when we do things like this, we try to do them the same. But I don't know if everybody's going to be the same. In fact, one community that I know of, Franklin Park, is going to opt out and issue gift cards instead of tax credits.
Well, I don't care about the other communities, I care about the people who live in this town. And if one person's getting 300, I would think that all of them should get 300 for volunteering.
Part of the problem, Steve, is if you don't make enough money, then, if you don't have earned income, then you don't get anything. So, I mean, you have to at least have $300 in tax in order to get the $300.
To hit 300, but if you make like you said, $20,000, then you would get a pro rata amount. The state legislature did make this, they linked it to either income or real estate. And real estate seemed
But
unfair.
everybody may not own a house either.
No, that's right. That's why the managers thought, and the board, the executive board of the COG agreed that it didn't seem fair to use the real estate taxes as the
Would a $300 gift card be a better idea? I mean, again, if the kid just coming out of college is volunteering and he only makes $10 or $7 an hour, it would seem like if we're going to, again, give one person 300, we should give all people 300. To me.
The tax, the state legislation it's not a requirement. But if you use the legislation, then you have to issue a tax credit. And it's not mandated that it as I read it, to be pro rata, but again, that was the recommendation that came. So that's it. You can issue.
We can look at that and see if there's another way to do it.
You can issue a gift card or.
You mean the gift card's out of the earned income tax money?
No, it
would be out of another pool of money.
It would be out of the general fund. Right. Which the earned income taxes.
How many people are we talking about?
72 people were active firefighters that took physicals. There's probably be a few more than that. What do you think, Sean?
Around 90.
Close to 90?
Probably no more than 90.
That put in 50 hours a year? That would qualify for this by their training and everything, so about 90.
We can look very easily at the list on.
And if you get gift cards, where do you get them to? Where do they come from? That they would be beneficial, the same gift card would be beneficial to everyone.
I don't know. I just.
Well, I'm curious what.
You're right. I understand. I mean, I don't even know that we would have to get them the same gift card. We might be able to say, hey, you have 25 gift cards to pick from. Do you want one from Lowe's or BJ's or wherever? But I feel strange saying, look, you only make $20,000 a year, so you're only going to get this much back. But this guy's making $60,000, and he's doing the exact same thing,
right.
And he's going to get 300 back.
But he'd have relief of all of his taxes then, if he makes less than 60,000, right?
Up to 300.
Right, but if he makes less than 60,000, that's less than 300, though, correct?
Well, that's right.
Right.
So he would be totally exempt from all taxes.
Right.
Less
Or
than
you
that.
could say, you can have a coupon to Home Depot or whatever, or you can take the tax credit if you want it.
Say, for example, he makes 40,000, and his wife makes another 20,000. He can't borrow from his wife.
No,
No.
it's on,
Okay.
joint returns are accepted,
Yeah,
but
accepted,
it's on the individual's
okay.
income.
That was the problem the first time the state did it. They wanted them separate.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the recommendation came from Keystone and Berkheimer and several of the other collectors who are tasked with collecting the money from
Right, but
around the
we
state.
could give options. We could say you can have no earned income tax, or we could say if you're only going to save $150 with no earned income tax, or you could take a $300 gift certificate to any one of these.
We gotta be, I think if we get it too complicated, it'd be, a lot more.
Yeah, it needs to be easy.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of bookkeeping to that
Kind
then.
of uniform, it probably would have to be uniform.
It's better. That was the goal in the COG was to try to make it uniform. And Keystone and their contemporaries all agreed that to have it linked to the amount of income that you make. Because they've already come up with a form. I think Keystone gave that to us.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, we have
Packet.
it.
Oh,
If
well,
we give
wait a
every,
second.
They did, right here.
that's $27,000 if we gave everyone $300 a person.
Right, and not only that, there are, currently, there's an instrument out there, a universal gift card, so no matter what the person particularly cares to do or buy, they could do it with that gift card. There are universal gift cards out there.
Ralph is right.
You mean just broad, just a broad?
Right, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
a
because
Visa-
there
a
are
Visa or
female
something.
firefighters out there, they may not want a Lowe's or a Home
Right.
Depot gift card, so why not buy the universal? If you're gonna go the
If you're
gift
gonna
card
go
route,
gift card.
There may also be
get
a
a
volunteer
universal gift card.
firefighter who doesn't have a job at all and doesn't get anything back.
Well, I think he's addressing that. He's
No,
saying-
that addresses that. If he's a firefighter that qualifies as a firefighter,
$300.
he gets a
universal
$300 gift
right.
card whether he has a job or not.
Right.
He might be on welfare.
Or even outside of the statute, I mean, I guess if you wanted to give your volunteer firefighters gift cards, I mean, you know, one option is you follow the statute and give them up to $300 in tax credits. But there'd be nothing to stop us from saying each volunteer firefighter is gonna get a gift card for X dollars. But that would come out of the general funds and be just sort of like a payment or something.
How many more volunteers would we expect out of this?
Well, they'd probably like that, the more the better.
Right, but we're talking, $27,000 cost now, but if we get another 90 volunteers over, because of the
Getting
tax credit.
volunteers has been an issue.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Getting people, it's very time consuming.
No, I
The training is
understand.
amazing what that they have to go through. I mean, it's a lot of training, it's a lot of time.
It's
you know.
ongoing training
It's
also.
ongoing training. I mean, it's a big deal.
I'm not saying I have a problem with it, but I'm just saying we aren't necessarily looking at $27,000. We could be looking at twice that, or I have no idea. How many volunteers could we accept? Is there any reason we wouldn't be able to have 300 volunteers a year instead of 90? We don't have the room for it, so. So what would our, if we had our full volunteer staff available, what would that be in McCandless, 120, 150?
Who knows?
Depends how many loggers we have available.
I mean, you don't have 150 guys in the township probably that want to be volunteer firemen.
We might if we give them $300 back.
What do you think?
I don't
What
know
do you
about
think
that.
the firefighters would like? What do you think they would be most receptive to? In your opinion, what do you think the firefighters would appreciate? Or what we could do to show our appreciation the most? What do you think they would like?
Or could we do a survey, have them ask every
Oh,
volunteer?
no, he's got an answer. He's getting ready to give it to me.
Since you asked, okay, I would say that the members of Highland, I only want to speak to Highland, they have been very appreciative that you're discussing this and enacting this ordinance as part of state law, following the state law. And they're very pleased that there's a chance that it'll be enacted to be credited for 2017. To answer your question, in full disclosure, there is a certain amount of disappointment or almost a feeling of underappreciation from the members because they're not going to be afforded the full credit allowed by the state law. Now, after what all of you just said, that sounds horribly greedy or inappropriate, but I feel it's fair to report back based on what I'm dealing with at the meetings, and I'm not disagreeing with them by any means. I understand both of your points that I guess anybody that makes $60,000 or more would like to have a full credit on their earned income tax, not have it be capped at $300. A member that makes less than $60,000 would probably yell at me now because I even brought it up because they'd prefer to have all of theirs forgiven / may get more of a return than their 0.5% that they pay in taxes. So I guess the simple answer is they would like the maximum amount afforded by the state law. But That's not where the Council of Governments ended up. They wanted to cap it at $300. Whether they would want a gift card or an earned income tax credit, I don't know that, I honestly don't think it makes a difference. I think the acknowledgement and the appreciation, you don't give us anything. You don't have to give us anything. We're still gonna do what we do. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's the feeling that I've gotten from feedback from Highlands members.
But if we did gift card, then everyone's getting the same thing, right?
What was the total max? He said the COG was 300, but the state max was more?
No, there's no max. I mean,
There's no max. The state law allows a municipality
To
Leave
set
it
its
to the
own.
municipality.
to set its own
Oh,
or
okay.
forgive
Okay, I
their entire
misunderstood you.
amount of income. Basically, as a tax-paying member, I would volunteer and I wouldn't pay my half a percent.
Yeah.
It's been across the state from the ones that I've seen, it's varied. I've seen as low as 200, I've seen 1,000, I've seen full credit. And in most cases, I've also seen the real estate portion as part of the resolution as well.
there is a cap on the real estate of 20%.
That's right.
But again, half the people, I don't know about half, but a lot of the volunteers may not have a house.
But it's not an either or, it's an and.
Right.
It is.
Both components are able to be paid, and it's not, to me, if you own a house, you're making a slightly larger investment in the community versus a renter, meaning you're paying, it's not a bonus, it's just a 20% of the real estate back to you.
Right, but I know a lot of kids who volunteered while they're still living at their parents' house. so
Absolutely.
that's-
Absolutely.
But you said it, I heard you say that it wouldn't really matter gift card vis-à-vis the monetary deduction. It seems to me, from a bookkeeping standpoint, it would be a lot simpler to just issue the gift cards. I mean,
Yeah.
bookkeeping wise, that would save a lot of, I think, time and work, rather than trying to determine, hit the calculator and figure out, well, he makes $57,284 a year, therefore I would prefer just from
For the
a
$300
bookkeeping
gift card.
standpoint.
Keystone has set their computer system so that if somebody makes $57,200 some dollars, they'd get a 0.5%.
300 back.
300, they get up to 300 back based on a percentage.
Well, that would be less than 300 doing
Yeah,
the math, but
so that would be
it
easy.
still seems simpler to me that the gift card would be the better way to go.
No,
I
it would-
think
it would be
treat people
simple.
equally.
And I think you'll
would
keep
be
it all
simple.
even then.
Yeah.
It'll all be,
Because 50
everybody's the
hours
same.
is 50 hours.
Yeah,
Clearly-
just because you have a job as an engineer does not mean you're more important than the guy who has a job bagging groceries. As far as
Query
fireman
whether
goes.
the gift card will then become taxable income,
It would.
It would.
It would.
yeah.
even if we
And which makes it
gifted
harder
it?
to track, you'd have to issue a W-2.
Or you have to issue a W-2,
Yeah.
or a W-9.
With a gift card.
On volunteers?
Sure, if you give people
Well, it's a
income.
gift, it's income, it's income.
It's income.
It's not a gift?
Yeah, why isn't it a gift?
Well, it's from a municipality.
So,
So we're creating another program.
what if we give a police officer a gift of a trophy for saving someone's life? Do we? And it
If it has
costs
no-
$300.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, no, well, it
Doesn't have
depends on
monetary.
the value, yeah.
There's no way around that. Okay, what taxes do we have to? Can we give them a $320 gift? And then the taxes come out of the $20?
0.5% on that?
It would depend on the person's income, what the $300 would do.
Right.
It is easier to have the percentage taken on the income tax return.
Can we give them
If it
the
turns-
two $150 gift certificates, one in July and one in December? Would that end that?
That's
Is
within
there
the
no
same year.
limit to?
Still have to
You
pay
get
taxes.
you get a W-9 at the end of the year.
We're gonna be doing, somebody in the fire company's gonna
1099.
have to be doing the bookkeeping, Sean, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think we have that, the three chiefs in McCandless, we've talked that through, and we already track. I mean, I know last year, we have documented 4,000 hours that we spent as Highland, to the community, based on responses and trainings. So I think all three departments were we've always done it, but we're well aware of the possible ordinance. So our records through the year are very accurate for tracking the minimum requirement.
Well, should we pursue and see about the gift card as an option? Or do you want to do that through the cloud,
Mr.
Toby?
Chairman.
I would say don't, because you're getting into some complications with, it would be taxable income, and that would be, it brings in federal, state, and local, and you've got a real big mess just doing that. I would just, if it's unfair, there's not too much you can do about it.
I would say do, because it's treating everyone equally.
You are gonna impose taxes on them that way.
Well, you got
Yeah, you just-
I'm
Give them
saying you've got
$400.
the accounting, the bookkeeping, all that you have to keep track of. That sounds like it's too complex with the federal, state, and local. They would tax it.
If the individual firefighter has no job and gets a $300 gift card from the town, he would not be required to pay any taxes anyway.
Right. Unless he has income from other
I
sources.
said unemployed.
I said, well, unless he has income from other
Go on
sources.
Unemployment or welfare, maybe.
Well, we make.
Yeah, but it has to rise to a
investment
certain
income-
level.
Investment income would be subject to federal income tax and
Right.
subject to state income tax. So-
If I have a chunk of money that comes to me, it can be made my responsibility. If I freelance, it's my responsibility to pay my own taxes. They don't take out any taxes, they don't do any paperwork. They give me the money, and that's all on me.
It depends how much it is.
Well,
Like if you
300
have a housekeeper or something that comes in, and you're over a certain amount, I think it might be 600 a quarter, and you're required to withhold and pay Social Security.
But this is only 300 in
Yeah,
a
we
year.
wouldn't be at that
But
level.
okay, but that takes care of all the paperwork. We give it to them, they have to claim it on their taxes, and it's their issue. We don't have to do anything,
Well, you
right?
have to give them a 1099. A reporting, for federal purposes, you have to give them a 1099. For state, you also probably have to give some document to show that they received income from you.
Well, I would think anyone who doesn't have a job who's getting $300 back would,
Excuse me, I'll be right.
I mean, if they have to pay taxes, they have to pay taxes.
Well,
They'd still be happy to get the $300.
It's the same way as a, hey,
Well, yeah.
this is no secret, I like to gamble, okay? If I go down to the casino or I win money on a lottery ticket, it has to go above a certain level before it becomes taxable
Right.
income. Or because otherwise the state wouldn't send you the form to fill out. So, to me, $300 does not rise to the level of taxable income for the purpose of us awarding the firefighters a stipend.
I would agree with that, too.
Oh, can we call it something else so that we don't have to do all the paperwork? Stipend?
But we can take a look at it and see what
Yeah.
options there are.
So they could get the full benefit, not be, whatever.
Yeah, I can't see making them pay taxes. I mean, to me, that's
No, I
creating
get it, but
another
if it's the
problem.
law,
Right.
then that's the
Right,
law,
right,
but
yeah,
if we
'cause
can,
we're trying to
if
relieve
there's a
the
workaround, look for the workaround.
Uh-oh.
Well, here you
Oh,
go.
we
Here's
got-
the
We got the
expert.
workaround
Yeah.
coming.
Well, I brought our tax collector.
Well, there you go.
He's on call.
Okay, so
He's
here's
on
the,
call.
here's the question. How can we give the firefighters $300
Each.
and not cost us tons of paperwork?
Or have them paying additional taxes.
Toby mentioned briefly what you were talking about. $300 is below the threshold to issue a 1099, but it's my belief that that $300 gift card would be taxable to the firefighters.
So what could we call it so that it's not? There has to be some sort of workaround. $300 is hardly anything.
But do we have to fill out tax forms and stuff, or can we just give them the 300 and then they're responsible for taking?
You could do that if you'd like.
We can do that?
Yes.
We don't have to have any
We wouldn't have any paperwork,
99
but they
form
would.
or,
Correct. We would not, by law, have to file a 1099 for that.
and that would be their responsibility.
And they would be responsible for paying taxes on that, yeah.
Seriously.
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, if we're gonna make them pay taxes on it,
No, we're not talking about that.
well, if they're gonna have to pay taxes on it,
Besides, that guy that's telling about the engineer, he's gonna
well,
pay more
what? I
taxes
mean,
anyway.
if we're giving them $300, we wanna give them $300 after tax. Then we have to do it in the way that they pay tax. Then the only way to get around that would be apparently to give them more,
Well,
so that they
we-
still end up with 300 after tax.
We may not be able to get around it. This is something we're not required to do, this is appreciation. So
Right.
if it's $280, $270, $260, it's still more than they would have gotten if we had relieved their taxes. Is that, would that be right? I
If
guess
it's
it
a
would
tax
depend on-
credit,
yeah,
then
yeah.
it's gonna be whatever the amount of their taxes is, so 0.5% times against their income. So that
But-
way, it's
but-
very, that's why that part is very simple.
But the only people who get that full thing are people above 60,000.
Well, we're just talking about the simplicity, we're talking about the simplicity
Right,
part.
right.
Applying it that way,
You didn't address
like I said, the collections folks lobbied hard for that, and they made that clear to everybody. We can do this for you, and it'd be very simple. So, but if there's something, if that's just one aspect of this, simplicity is one aspect. The amount is an important feature, and that's something the council has to decide.
So it just doesn't make any sense to me, though. The people that are making more money are getting more benefit.
Right.
Than the people who need the money are not
Yes.
getting
Well,
it.
they're paying more taxes. I think the state legislature is saying those who pay more taxes get the credit equivalent to what they're paying in taxes. That's the way they looked at it. The state legislature didn't pass this as a gift card program. You can, remember, this is an optional
Right.
program. The idea, and our senator met with the COG managers about in April or May, because we were asking, where is the guidance from the state? Because it was said we were going to be getting some by April or May, and he spoke to us, answered questions, and he said, I was one of the authors of the bill, Senator Volakovich, and he said that firefighters should get some kind of tax credit.
So we're going to be discussing this in 1 month, essentially, correct?
Well, we have,
That's a draft of it, though.
you're doing a lot of
Right,
the.
but we've already scratched
You
drafts.
scratched pretty hard. I think that if you have, we're not going to adopt this month. We
Right.
can't. The idea is, at least we got it done in time where we have time for, we got Sean's input. I got an email from Greg Quachek that said thank you, and that, I think, to me, that means he's seen what's there. Doesn't mean he's necessarily accepting it. He thanked me for getting the information. Haven't heard from Peebles yet, because I got this Friday. I sent it out to the fire company chiefs and to you on Friday.
But a month
So,
away is plenty of time. Do you guys think you can ask all
that's what I
90
thought.
guys in a month, which they prefer?
I offered to sit down with the chiefs. Maybe Greg wants to sit as chair, vice chair of services, sit down, meet. That's how we often do that. Come back and give a report. We have a couple of opportunities in September. We should schedule a public hearing if there's any inclination the council wants to adopt a tax credit. We should know that by the end of this month, because then we have to advertise for public
Well,
hearing.
that's 3 weeks. They should have time to ask 90 guys a 30-second question.
We could have a public hearing at our finance committee meeting in September and adopt the ordinance at the end of the month.
I think what you
Why
need
don't we
to,
just pull the membership? Wouldn't that be a lot easier?
That's what I'm saying.
but make them understand that we want to do something. Which do they feel is the most beneficial to them?
Well, here's your
rejecting it.
choices. You either give you a gift card, or you get the tax credit.
And is the question that the council has decided that $300 is the maximum? Or should we, I'm just trying to manage how I ask the question appropriately, so that the three departments don't come back with 8 different answers.
300 is Mrs. Powers is asking me, are we allowed to raise it? $300 the managers originally thought $100. And the chiefs met, and they were meeting on the criteria for the managers to put in the ordinance and then give to the solicitors and councils on how to manage the situation. But the managers thought it was our role to help set an amount, and along with Keystone's help, and because but just as Sean said, Keystone collects all around the state. I think they have 17 or 18 tax collection districts, and theirs range from a couple $100 to $1,000. And Keystone also pointed out that there are a number of communities that have said, we don't want to mess with the tax code. Franklin Park's doing gift cards. Other municipalities are doing gift cards as well.
How many people from different municipalities live in McCandless? Any?
Different municipalities.
Right, do we have any firefighters from Franklin Park who live in McCandless? Do we have
Peebles
any?
has a couple that live in Hampton.
Okay, so do we have any that are opposite? Or even that could be a problem? Would they, the people who, if Peoples has people from, and that sounds silly, but people from Hampton, do they not get a tax credit because, or they would get it from Hampton if Hampton does it?
If the tax credit version is used, the tax credit is issued by the municipality. And so the fire chief from Zelienople, who has a McCandless person that loves going to Zelienople to be in that fire service, the McCandless resident gets the tax credit. The chief from Zelienople fills out the form. It said, I certify that Joe Smith from McCandless is eligible.
But if Hampton's
we're
not
supposed to
doing
get that.
it,
So there are some complications in this certification program. That's not going to be just a cakewalk. The gift card is not terribly bad. It's just want to make it clear that there are tax implications for it. We don't issue a 1099 under $600. I wanted to make sure Reach would confirm that for us. But so the firefighter would be obligated to pay taxes. It'd be up to them to meet their obligation.
See what they like. Yeah.
Then
We all have an August monthly meeting, so that'll be the appropriate time, and we can certainly report back to you by Labor Day via email if you prefer the discussion we have in our individual meetings.
Every company can take a poll of the members. Who's gonna coordinate that?
So you'll report to the other fire?
That'd be my job to get all the fire companies on. Sean will talk to I'm sure his brother and his sister firefighters, but use me and Reach to get this information so we can do our jobs to get this thing before you.
His polls can change depending on what we're offering. So are we offering 300, 400, 1,000? What are we offering, or are we?
I think we said 300. A
Well,
gift
that's
card,
what we were-
the choices are a gift card for 300 or tax abatement up to 300.
Simple.
Those are the choices.
That's the
So
options they
Pretty
have.
much tell you the vote, unless somebody's not thinking. If they make less than 60,000, they'll vote gift card.
Right.
If they make more, they could go either way.
So we'll
it's
go-
a fair
How many-
question, and I think we can come back to you with something.
How
we'll
many
try to
other
please the
accountants do we
majority.
have in your fire company, Sean?
A couple, too many to be dangerous.
We have a few in our
Yes.
company, as you well know.
Well aware.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions by members of council?
I had one other. It recommends in here too that after they fill out, it gets notarized, the chiefs look at it, they say, yes, this person's done all these things, then it's supposed to come to council and we're supposed to approve each one of these? I mean, that's what this is
I
saying.
would imagine they would be brought and we'd approve them all at once in a list.
Why would we have to do that?
Well,
If we
I
make
don't
the
think we have to
ordinance-
do it, but the way you said it sounds like
Well,
we'd
that's
be
what it
asking, does
sounds to
Jim
me
Smith get
too.
this, does Bob?
Yeah, that's what it sounds to me.
Where are you
too.
reading?
H, page 4, municipal review. Shall review the applicants for credit, shall cross-reference them with the notarized list at the first regular meeting in March. Council shall approve or disapprove the volunteers that appear on the notarized list submitted. There's another reference in here, and it said review each one. So I'm like, why would we do that? Because they've already been confirmed by the people who know that they've met the criteria. So it seems like we could trust our chiefs to say, yes, these are the people with their records, and then it would just be automatically happen. We wouldn't have to review every one.
The obligation under the law is that they have to submit it to the municipality, because the municipality is allowing the credit. So, if council, I did notice this myself, if council wants our tax collector, which he does this kind of stuff, part of which you do all day long, get a certified list, he can have it audited if you want to entrust that to him and me to do that, or his staff, that's fine. I don't think council has to approve every year. I think the town does.
I agree. That's what I meant. It doesn't seem like we should have to vote on this every year. Are we ever gonna say, oh no, Johnny should really not be, I know this kid, we shouldn't really approve him?
Remember, this was intended to be a one-size-fits-all. There are a lot of small boroughs and townships around the state that don't have, very much staff. So some of the councils, have to rely on themselves to say, well, I know you don't have time, borough secretary, to review this, so.
Right, but we're
I think
looking at
that
our
would be-
process. Yeah.
I think if we were to detect some aberration or problem or something, or have a new recommendation that you need to legislate over, I think we would do that.
Yeah. It just seems to me like one less thing we really need to do.
Seems repetitive.
Yeah, repetitive.
Any other questions by council?
That's all mine.
One other comment by me, if I could. I just want to couch what I said about taxation. First of all, you should talk to your CPA or TurboTax for definite guidance, but I believe that if you go with the tax credit, I'm assuming what you would do is get a refund at the end of the year, since your employer wouldn't know to give you that credit unless there's something in the law that says employers are notified and they withhold less tax. Then if you're itemizing your deductions, you would have less of a deduction for your local income tax or income tax that you're paying. Whereas it's my belief that a gift card would actually be some form of compensation that you would have to pay tax on. So.
Thanks, Reed.
When Sean and we pass this back to Sean and the other chiefs, I think we should make sure that the firefighters know that there would be a tax obligation with the gift card.
Any questions by anyone in the public? Okay, the service committee meeting is hereby adjourned.
Thanks, Reed.
Thanks, Reed.
Thanks, Reed.
Public Works will come to order. Report on the 2017 drainage program.
Okay, I may need a little coffee here to get the bones going again, so if I fumble a little bit, bear with me. As we started into this year and looking ahead on the paving program and gearing the drainage to that, as we approached June, we had about 130 inlets left that we needed to work on and to take a look at. As we all know, April and May were horrible. We lost nearly half of each month working days. That started to put us in arrears on the drainage work. We got into June, and as we all know, we lost 15 out of 21 working days in June to rain. So we were able to get 25 inlets and 200 feet of pipe done in June, along with all the cleanup that we did after the storms and because of the storms. As we entered into July, we once again, out of 19 working days in July, we lost 14 of those days to rain. So at this point, going into July, we finished up 476 feet of pipe and 6 inlets on Woodcrest Road. Started on Sloop Road, where we have almost 1,300 feet of pipe to replace and 24 inlets on just the one half of it. And we started on Whitmer Road to do inlet work down there, and we have 41 inlets that need work on Whitmer Road. The rain has not been as merciless so far in August, but it's not looking like we're going to get through this month without a whole lot of rain again. At this point, I believe we're anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks behind on where I would really want to be by this time of year, which dovetails in with the paving program that our paving contractor is going to have to move out of the town because he's caught up to us. He's caught up and finished all but a little bit of paving up in the Tallybrook plan, and so he's packing all his toys and he's going to leave for probably a month anyway and try to come back the beginning of September to get some more of the work done. Hopefully by then, we will have finished up on Whitmer Road and the first half of Sloop Road. I've already committed with the paving contractor that we will not have all of Sloop Road done this year. We're going to try, but I don't think it's going to happen. We'll probably get half done and have him come in and pave half of it this year, and then carry the other half over until spring, and come back in April and start on the other half.
Will we still keep our prices for next year?
He will. He's already agreed to keep the prices for next year. He's going to keep the contract open, and everything will be carried through at the same
We've had
prices.
to do that a couple times over the years.
Which half of Sloop are you gonna have finished?
From Willoughby to Rochester.
And
The front half, as you all know, well, as you may know, going into, actually it's over a year ago, we had an incident down at Sloop and Sloop Highland and Whitmer intersection where an end wall on the county pipe that comes underneath Highland Road collapsed. With that, a portion of the hillside started to erode. That worked its way up to the point where it's actually eroded into the shoulder on Sloop Road. And then with the storm that we had on, I believe it was June 15th, if I got the date right yet, the flooding at Highland and Sloop, it washed out a tremendous amount of that hillside, so that the area that's eroded is now about 5 times bigger than it was going into early this year. I have met with the county twice down there. Their bridge division is working on a repair. However, they don't believe they're going to get it done this year. They're going to try to do something to temporarily hold the hillside so that we don't lose any more of Sloop Road. That should take place within the next month or two. But the final repairs are not, they're not even thinking about putting those on the schedule until sometime next year. That work was originally set to be done in 2019, but because of the advancement of all the erosion down there, they've moved it up a year. So they're working on that right now. So even if we were able to complete all the drainage work on Sloop Road, we still couldn't pave the whole road. We'd have to stop short of finishing the road.
So what's the county proposed to do to prevent the erosion?
I don't know.
They're working on a solution. We met with their engineers and the Public Works Director. We had a kickoff meeting, as Mark said, he's met a couple times with them since in the field. They have a bridge division. They're designing up specifications for that. They said they're going to try to get as much as they can under a DEP permit that'll let them go 50 feet on each side of the pipe to, put additional riprap and stabilization.
Yeah, that whole eroding further into Sloop Road.
Oh, yeah.
It could very well if, I mean, the hillside is such now that the creek, anytime the creek rises, it's probably going to erode a little bit more of that hillside. But they're tied up the same as we would be. They've got to obtain a permit from DEP to do any work on the in the stream. So hopefully they're going to try to get that under, I believe, under an emergency general permit, so that they can speed the work up down there a little bit.
Well, just keep on them and make sure they don't lose us somewhere.
They seemed, Steve Shanley, the County Public Works Director, seemed committed to get this done, and Rich Connors is bridge engineer, very, very much so.
Okay, anything else, Mark?
That's all I have.
Anybody have any comments on the agenda items? Hearing none, Public Safety, Public Works is adjourned. Recreation Committee.
Recreation Committee called to order. We can review the bid tabulations for the rehabilitation of Wallport tennis courts. The separate bids were sought for paving, color coding, and fencing to provide bidders with an opportunity to bid on each of the items. The tennis courts were budgeted for $60,000, and the low bid was $38,000 for the paving, and the color coding was $14,875. This said about fencing, but I didn't see a bid for fencing for that.
No, and we would be able to quote that because Mark thought that, as I put in my brief comments in the memo, that any of these bidders could have packaged all three together. That would have given them the opportunity to do it, but none of them elected to do that. So what Mark can do is go out on quotes, because the fencing price, Mark, what were you thinking about that number estimate?
Because we're going to resurface those courts rather than rebuild, we won't have to tear the fencing completely down. So we'll be able to, even the portion of the fencing that we take down, we'll probably be able to reuse after the project's all completed. So I believe if I talk to 3 or 4 of the fencing companies, I did talk to our local company, Maintenance Service, and they told me that it just actually slipped by. They had the package on their desk. They looked at it and failed to submit it, and he apologized and said that he will, if we're still going to seek quotes on it, he'll be happy to give me a price on it. So, and if you look through the list, we had sent to a few other fencing companies in addition, and got no response from anybody on the fencing.
Yeah, you sent it to a lot of people. I thought that was great. I'm surprised so few bids came back.
Right. I don't know why. The paving, anytime you do a tennis court or basketball court, is somewhat of a specialty item to pave. The color coding is a specialty item. So there's not a whole lot of people out there that do that kind of work. But the fencing, there's fencing companies all over Allegheny County. And we sent to several of them, as I said, and got no response. So I don't know. Maybe it was because we wanted to save and reuse some of the fencing rather than just dispose of it and put all new up, so they weren't interested in it. I don't know.
So they're only giving us a bid on part of the fence then?
There's no fence bid.
There's no.
But I
there-
mean, that's what,
When
that's
they,
what
when we.
we're trying to get.
Yeah.
Right.
He'll
But
get
it's only
quotes.
on part.
He'll get
Right.
quotes for part.
What we're going to do, and now that we have McElroy on board to do the paving, I'm going to ask him exactly how much of that fence he feels he needs to have removed in order to do the paving properly. And then when I talk to fencing companies to give us a price on it, that's what I'll present to them, that I need so many posts removed and replaced, so much of the fabric taken down and put back up again.
Because that total, as of right now, is $52,875. That doesn't
Correct.
leave a lot for fencing.
Yeah, I think we should be able to get the fencing done for under $8,000.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Any questions from council about this? Okay. Move to item number 3, review the request from the Environmental Advisory Committee to procure complimentary items to be distributed.
Should say at. We have an extra word in there, should say, just say
I
at.
was gonna say, there is a word, distributed by the members at Community Day booth. The request is for a maximum of $750. The 2 items that we kind of agreed on, and I'll pass this around, it's a very cute bird feeder. You take the bottom of this, and I'll pass it around to you, and you screw it onto a 2-liter soda bottle, and so it's a bird feeder. So that would kind of be our nice item. Those are $2 each. You can pass that.
Right, you said 2 items.
The other item are the very inexpensive item. This is our kind of big item. The inexpensive item would be little trash bags that you kept in your car for litter, to try to encourage people from not throwing trash out
You want to get a picture of that?
out the windows. So those would be the 2 items that we were looking at.
So you're just giving these out, you're gonna pass them out?
That's what we were gonna do, yes. They were gonna be freebies at the booth to pass out.
And we'd have to okay this because we said anything more than 500.
That's exactly right, that's exactly right. And if you capped it at 500, we would just buy less of everything. But the committee's asked that I present this, and with those items.
Are we gonna build any birdhouses this year? I haven't heard about that yet.
You mean in the children's, children's den?
Yeah,
Is that-
Community Day, we had birdhouses delivered to us by,
Right, well, I thought Georgette said that
There's
were
kits,
coming.
but I don't know if
The
they're
kits.
birdhouses this year. I didn't-
Whatever the kit is, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a birdhouse or not.
well, when we got the birdhouses, they were donated to us by,
Lowe's?
well, Lowe's did. We had them first from Home Depot, but then
Right.
it rained, that got rained out, and Lowe's donated the birdhouse.
Well, Georgette said they are going to do another project, so, but we don't know if it's a birdhouse or what they're gonna decide.
Is that something
That-
that you're implying that maybe the EAC would participate?
I don't think-
No,
No,
oh,
no,
oh,
no,
okay.
no,
Oh, I
he's
thought
just
you were
asking.
No,
saying.
we're not telling you to build birdhouses.
Okay, we'll build birdhouses.
That's a nice idea.
Well, no, it's it's.
But they donate, Lowe's donated,
Okay.
and then the
But then the
children's
kids put
tent.
them together.
Oh, I see.
They put them together and then they left.
They
the
put them
birdhouse.
together in the kids'
But I
tent
think
for
this is a good
Community
idea, I
Day.
like this.
Okay.
Now, I don't know whether they're donating
We need someone to
birdhouses.
feed those birdhouses from last year, so.
That's it. So,
I would agree to the 750.
It would, yeah, the guidance you had for the EAC was that anything under 500 or under,
Right.
you would just okay committee, so
Right.
because it's over 500, you would vote on this to
Right.
ratify it, but I think
We
that
have
the
to do it
council
for
would
finance,
allow
or
that.
can we do it now?
I think the council should ratify it at the business meeting as a course, just a course of basic action. But I think part of the reason why they wanted us on the agenda was so they could buy this in time. for
Right, they have to
Community Day.
order it,
You have
it's
to
gonna
order
take
this
time.
stuff. Just vote to ratify it later.
I would think, I'm okay with it. How about you guys?
If it's up to council, if you're fine here at the committee level, just put
Guess
it
you're
along
okay
with the
with it.
minutes.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
So
You don't have to bother.
three of us are okay with it.
We're good.
You're gonna raise the 750.
We need one
You
more
got- Are you
okay.
guys good with it?
Yeah.
We're good.
We're all good, unanimous.
You have consensus.
Oh, I'd also like.
Except you have to save one for us.
Okay, okay. I'd also like to invite everyone to the EAC meeting, which is Wednesday. I know you got this in an email, but I'm just inviting you and everyone else who would like to come who's interested. And we're gonna have a presentation on the possibility of the town of McCandless being sustainable, working on a sustainable certification and all the things that that would entail. Lots of our surrounding communities have already have different levels of sustainability certification based on the things you're doing in the town. And so there's a lot of the surrounding communities have it, so they're gonna present it to us and what that would entail and how much work it would be and how much time and cost and those kinds of things, so that would be
7:30.
7:30, yes.
Which
And
room
it's
is
gonna
that
be in this, we're gonna do it in this room, because
Okay.
we're hoping a lot of people will come. Okay? And, any questions from council about any of those things? Thank you for approving that. I thank you from the, EAC. Are there any comments from, the community? No? All right, and if that's the case, then the recreational committee is adjourned.
And that concludes the meeting agenda, and we're adjourned.
I move we adjourn the meeting, sir.
You move we adjourn the official business.
Put them on autopilot.
I'll second.
On the adjournment committee.
Also on adjournment today.
I pooped out here.
Wasn't as long as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, it could have been worse for 1.5 meetings.
Yeah, that's true. It was gonna be longer than that.
I actually anticipated an actual person being here to complain, it wasn't, so.
Oh, I found my pen. Thank you for lending me yours. That's how it always is. Thank you.
Steve, let's corner mark.
Yeah,